from John's Grill on Berry Street in Fort Worth. Welcome to the Players Club with hosts Emma Holquist and Olivia Lee, and featuring TCU student athletes. Brought to you by John's Grill online at johnsgrill.com and by Fans Vintage, the Frog Fam's #1 source for rare and vintage TCU gear. Now, here are Emma and Olivia.
And we are so happy to be back for another week where we're joined by two different TCU student athletes talking about their lives both in and outside of sports. And this is a special episode. Isn't that right, Emma?
Yep, that's right. I'm happy to have two of my very own teammates, Jeanne, Dahmen, and Elliott Jones.
Woo!
So excited to have you guys here with us this week and talk about your experiences as Horned Frogs.
Yeah, we've really been looking forward to the swim episode. Emma's been talking all about it.
Yep.
I feel a little outnumbered here, I will say. Although I was a swimmer back in the day, I told them before this show I may bring that up a few times because I want to relive my swim glory days. But we'll get into that later on. We'll focus on you guys first. Now, we wanted to start. Obviously, you just wrapped up your season, right? Some people are still competing. You guys shared that you're done. So just kind of wanted to talk about what this season was like for you. I know there were a few kind of things up in the air with the pool not being finished, kind of having to practice other places. But let's focus on the positives first. What was one of the best moments you would say for you this season that you can kind of reflect back on and be like, wow, that was awesome? Either of you, feel free to answer first.
I was going to say it was really fun when football was winning and we were on a training camp in Hawaii. And it just really made me want to train harder and be there for the team, just as football was there for the school. So I think that was my favorite part, being at the training trip and seeing the team do well.
So kind of motivating, you would say, right? Seeing another sport be so successful and then being far away from that, being like, I want to return and kind of bring that energy too back to like TCU campus.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's cool. Also, Hawaii, I mean, the fact that you guys get to go there and train is amazing. Pete, I don't think you realize, like, all of us average students on campus are like, what? You guys are going to the coolest places ever. What about you, Elliott? Is there something that sticks out for you?
Yeah. I'd say Hawaii as well. I think, like Jeanne said, the being able to watch football and see their success and kind of feed off that was a really cool thing. And kind of that our dual mates there were really fun. And I know at least like the men's team had like really great performances there, and we just like were feeding off the energy of all the other sports and just like continued that through our season. That was really exciting.
Yeah. And now you're both sophomore, is it, or freshman year? Sophomore and junior.
Yeah, I just finished my junior season.
So what would you guys say is kind of the difference that you felt, and maybe Emma, you can even touch on this too, frankly, of prior seasons to this season, whether that's a good or a bad thing? Was there like a big difference that you felt competing this season? Emma, you want to share?
I mean, not having a pool was definitely a new thing.
Tough,
New fun little thing we decided to try, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. You came from SEC, and this is John's second year. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Was there any big difference like last year to this year other than the pool?
I think, yeah, I mean, the pool was a big challenge. And I think for a lot of us mentally, like the beginning of the year, that kind of like we were all thinking about it a lot. And then I think it was kind of just an unspoken thing at some point throughout the season that we all kind of just accepted the fact that we weren't going to have a pool and we just needed to move on. And nobody really talked about it as much anymore. And we kind of just did our thing and drove to other pools and just like continued to, grind during practice and stuff despite that. And I think not having a pool and having to like travel to different places and stuff for practice, like adding that extra element of challenge kind of showed like the resilience and perseverance that this team has. And I mean, that was really cool to see, like coming in being new at TCU this year and kind of seeing everyone like perform despite that was like a really cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
Think about it too. Other sport, like everyone's on campus, right? So when they go to their like lift or whatever that they're doing, they go to their trainer that they have to check in with, and they can walk to their wherever, their field or their court or whatever, and you guys had to drive and go somewhere else. It's like you take those things for granted probably as a student athlete, and now kind of having that, like you said, so resilient to be able to be like, yeah, we had to deal with that, but we still made it work, is really impressive. But you mentioned, Emma, that you had Elliott had transferred from an SEC school, Auburn. Is that right? Is where you transferred from. what has that transition been like for you coming from there now to TCU? I mean, I know both Southern vibe to it, but is there anything that stands out?
Yeah, I had an adjustment period at the beginning of the season, but this team is made up of so many different personalities and backgrounds, and it's really crazy. And this team is so great with just integrating all these different, like, very strong personalities. So I had no problem like meshing with the team, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, cool transition to come from SEC and then be here and kind of experience the difference. And obviously, not having a pool probably made that tough. But you still have another season, maybe two ahead of you. So, and what about you, Jeanne? You are from Montreal, Canada. Is that right?
Yeah.
What is that the difference in the swim training look like in Canada versus here? Is there one, or is it kind of just same across the board? Like, are you training different there versus here? Or
Yeah. I mean, back home we don't swim in yards at all, so you add like at least like a yard or two in distance per event.
yeah,
So it's definitely an adjustment, and I think that was my biggest difference from last season. Is just that I got more used to how Americans train and how the pools are here. But overall, it's been really fun, and like I've been following like all of their steps. Especially Emma
Yeah.
has been there for me a lot in the
Aw.
adjustment. So
love
yeah,
that.
no, it's been really fun
Yeah.
adjusting to that.
Yeah.
How do you feel like the freshmen have done, like settling in and stuff? Like, because you were the freshman last year.
Yeah. What's your question?
How do you think they've like done, like settling in, and like, do you feel like inclined to help them at all? Because you were there that last year.
Yeah, like being in their spot before as a freshman coming from somewhere else. How
Yeah.
have you kind of looked at the freshman now and been like, I could be that big sister kind of role for you? Is that
Yeah, especially with like we have a lot of freshmen that speak a different language, so
Yeah.
I tried to be there as much as I could, like just by showing up and inviting them to dinners and stuff like that, just because I know it can get really lonely.
Yeah.
But after freshman year, you really get the hang of it, and you really start to understand that the people here are your new family, and
Yeah.
I think they're starting to get that too, which
Yeah.
is nice.
I mean, we've had a bunch of different athletes on this show so far, mainly international, I would say, wouldn't you,
Yeah.
Emma? Besides the football guys, really, we've had a lot of international students. They say something similar. You have to adapt and kind of create this family, right, that
Yeah.
exists here for you, especially when you're far away from home. It's impressive, and it's cool that the TCU athletic community can kind of provide that for you guys. So that's special to hear, and that Emma is like a big sister to you. I love that.
I know, I'm so sad.
Now,
she's
what-
leaving.
Baby.
I have a question. What is your guys' event that you prefer, and then your best event? Because I know it kind of
They
depends.
are different.
There's a difference, right?
There's
Am I
a big
right?
difference.
There's a
Okay,
difference.
share that with me. I want to hear.
I swim butterfly, and my favorite events are definitely sprint, so 50, 100. But I do the 200 fly, sadly. And then,
Oh,
yeah, that's
gosh.
basically what I was recruited for, my butterfly.
I mean, I seriously used to dread swimming butterfly
Yeah, me
more
too,
than
me too.
anything. Also, the fact that you call 100 a sprint, just for anyone that doesn't know, that's 4 laps. Or 2 in a 50-yard pool. I literally would be dying at the end of that. I don't know how you do that. And you say you swim the, 200 meter, you said?
Sadly, yeah, I do.
Oh, my goodness. What about you, Elliott?
Yeah, so I'm a pretty similar swimmer to Jeanne, except I do backstroke, so same distances. Definitely
There
my
we go.
favorite thing to swim is the 50 back. I think that's the most fun event possible. It lasts 20 seconds, and
Yeah, what's your fastest time?
I wish it was 20 seconds. It's 22, but
There you go.
yeah, it's short and sweet, and not a lot of room for air. But just with practicing like repetitions over and
Yeah,
over
you
again.
like the pressure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And Emma, you're freestyle, right?
Yep.
So we've got
Not
three,
anymore.
3 different strokes. I know. Well, now at the
Yeah,
end of your
retired.
career, we've got 3 different strokes at the table. Do you have a favorite? Is that it's free? Probably.
I mean, it's pretty much the only one I can swim. I mean, I enjoy backstroke, sure,
yeah.
but it's not pretty.
Backstroke?
Should I?
Emma got mentioned on Swim Swam for her 200 IM, though.
I did go viral for doing all 4 of the strokes.
Really?
Terribly. Yeah, I did
Oh.
them, but they were
I
terrible.
think
Love
did,
that.
did you set some sort of swim swam Twitter record? or
Yeah, they were
something?
like, this is the most engagement we've gotten on a tweet ever.
Yeah, and you
'Cause
got
I
an
was like,
interview.
please
Wait,
don't
so
ignore me.
explain the story. You tweeted something and people saw it. You need it. No one's going to pick up on this. What happened?
We were swimming at Texas.
Yeah.
And they're really good. The girls just got runner up at NCAAs, shout out. And so they were talking about one of the girls on Texas who swam really fast. And this is like a swim media outlet that's pretty big. And I quoted the tweet about the other swimmer, and I was like, okay, you guys don't want to talk about me though? Like, I did really bad. Like, hello. And then they quoted it back and they're like, good job, you did so well. And then it just blew up kind of.
Oh my goodness.
How many likes did it get? Like,
I don't know if it
couple
got that many likes,
thousands.
but it got a lot of views. So a lot of people were reading me
So
beg for
basically,
attention.
Emma's trying to plug herself in saying that she is famous on Twitter. That's what I'm
I mean,
getting.
that's not what I'm
She
saying,
is,
but
she is.
that's what's true. yeah.
That is, it's just straight facts. I love that.
Anyways,
And-
enough about me.
yeah, I
Like,
know.
let's.
What would you
Let's
guys
move
say is the most difficult event to swim, and if you've swam it or not? But like talking to your peers, other people's not like people on the team. What's the most difficult? Would you say butterfly?
For me personally, my 200 fly is the hardest event, but like we have people on the team that swim the mile and 400 IM, so I feel kind of bad saying that because they swim a lot more and train a lot more distance, but
Yeah.
definitely it's up there. It's up there.
The mile. That's I mean, the endurance you have to have for that, right?
Yeah.
Have you guys swam that? Do you do that in practice? Like, it's just a set that you do in practice?
You do
That's
mile
crazy.
sets?
Yeah.
You do mile sets,
Yeah, we
Elliott?
do sometimes.
Wait, so I'm curious. You guys seem like, do you train with your, like, are you in a lane with the people that swim your stroke, or how does that work? How does the training work?
I think as you kind of work your way up in swimming, you kind of get more like specified in what you do and how you train and stuff. And when we all start out in summer league and really high school swimming a little bit, we all kind of just train together. But by the time you get to the collegiate level, you're all separated down into groups. So you have your sprint group, your mid distance group, and your distance group. And then within those groups, you kind of have like subgroups. Like we'll have lower, mid, and So you have the milers being like the very, very tip top, and they just swim and swim and swim just for hours.
Yeah.
And then you have your 50 guys who
Don't swim for hours.
don't swim for hours. But I mean, it to me, like, and back to your previous question, like what I think the hardest race is, and I think every swimmer says their event is the hardest, because I think to be good at an event, it has to be really, really hard.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think the 200 back is the hardest, like mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I swam the 200 fly, I'd say the 200 fly, but I don't swim the 200 fly.
Yeah.
But
Really?
I think just having, like, mentally having to go into a race knowing that you're going to be on the verge of passing out in the next minute and a half is like some of the most like mentally challenging thing you can do.
Totally.
So you have that on top of the physical aspect, and I think that's like preparing yourself for a race, and like knowing that is like some of the hardest thing you can do.
Yeah.
And then like towards the end of the season, when you go like 3 meets in a row and having to do that like 40 or 50 times in a span of like 3 weeks, you just
It's a
need a
lot.
break. You need a break after that.
I mean, that's the mental toughness you guys have to have too, to kind of repeat
it's
over
true.
and over, and improving times, right? I mean, you do it by less than a second every time is like how you're going to improve. So that's just crazy. I want to dive more into that, but we're going to head to a quick commercial break first. When we return, you'll hear more from us here live at the Players Club. Stay tuned.
On the pursuit of happiness, and I know everything is shining on its day.
Hi everyone, I'm Lindsay Dixon, the proud owner and founder of Fans Vintage. We sell rare and vintage gear for all things TCU. I graduated from TCU with an MBA in 2020 and actually started Fans Vintage as part of a class project during COVID. And now, 2 years later, we've grown from selling random vintage gear on Instagram into a full-time retail business with rare and custom gear you can't find anywhere else. This business has always been about creating a community of passionate fans and bringing people together where nostalgia and school pride collide.
We couldn't have gotten here without your tremendous enthusiasm and support. So thank you, and we can't wait to share what's next.
Stay tuned, and as always, go Frogs.
Flying T Club provides the everyday TCU fan and alum the ability to specifically support TCU student athletes. Flying T Club offers 3 levels of memberships. The Flying T Club is a nonprofit organization supporting the brand development of TCU student athletes through a series of unique event-based networking opportunities, which are exclusive to our members. These events provide a great social engagement tool for our members and student athletes alike. Follow them on Instagram at Flying T Club or online at flyingtclub.com.
This is Cowtown Headache Center, a neurology clinic that specializes in headache medicine. We offer standard oral medications, we offer trigger point injections, we offer multiple nerve blocks, we offer infusions both for prevention medication and for acute relief. My name is Andrew Levere. I'm a physician assistant that has a special certification from the National Headache Foundation in headache medicine. Patients are pretty shocked when I tell them we have tons of options for them and that we can do better than what they're doing. I don't just tell you, here's one medicine we're going to try. I'll give them options, and then ultimately we choose together as the provider and patient. It's very satisfying to know that we're changing people's lives.
Texas-based Happy Water offers the best tasting sugar-free kids drink ever made. Happy Water comes in 4 delicious flavors that you can find at local retailers and on Amazon. Each pouch contains 0 grams of sugar, 0 calories, and 0% juice. Head to happydrinks.com for more information and to purchase Happy Water. That's HAPI Live happy, be happy, drink happy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Players Club. I'm Olivia Lee, joined by my co-host, Emma Hillquist, as well as 2 members of the swim team, Jeanne and Elliott. Thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate it. We're starting to dive into a little bit of your past with swimming and such, but first, Emma.
First, shout out Fans Vintage. They're not here tonight, but usually they are. You can get all your vintage and all your swag, all your TCU stuff from them, but next week they'll be here.
Yeah, they've got good stuff too, and they're official sponsor for TCU gear this upcoming year. So there's going to be a lot of stuff circulating for them. You don't want to miss out on it. You can check them out online as well. Now, we want to get into recruiting stories. We kind of talk with everyone about their experience of how they got to TCU. I know you both had a different experience. You're international. You came from another school. So I want to hear about all of that from both of you. Jan, if you want to start, I know you came from Montreal, Canada. What was that like getting recruited here?
There's a website called College Swimming, and you can basically put your profile and get seen by different teams.
Cool.
So whatever emails I got or whatever emails I sent and had a reply to, I usually talk to those teams.
Yeah.
And then we get recruiting trips, but during COVID, all of those got canceled.
Yeah.
So, and I wasn't really looking at TCU just because Texas and Canada is not very known, I guess. Like,
makes sense.
Or I just didn't know much about the school at all, and I didn't get my trip here because of COVID. But James, the head coach, flew out to my house and met my family.
Cool.
So I got to see a little bit of the coaching staff and what that felt like. And then I had a call, and I had Emma on it, like our other team captain, Charles, which he's from my hometown.
Oh, cool.
And instantly, I just fell in love with the people. And I think as soon as you get to TCU, you kind of notice that community sense in the people, the non-athletes as well.
Yeah.
So, just coming here now, one of my favorite things is just the student body, and I'm very glad I picked this school just because of that.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's also interesting how a lot of people I feel I've talked to are like, at TCU, especially international students, I feel like Texas isn't necessarily in your line of view. That would make sense. And coming from Canada too. But when you get here, you feel that sense of community, and you're like, wow, I really made the right decision.
Yeah, there's a little Southern charm definitely that I can't get away from now.
It draws you in.
Yeah, and the weather is so nice compared to home.
Really?
Yeah.
So is it cold in Canada?
It's there's 20 centimeters of snow right now.
Jeez.
But
okay, so you feel like you're living the life here even when we have tornadoes. You're like,
no, I definitely am. Yeah, I like it. But I've gotten weak. Now I like my puffer jacket and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so funny. Elliott, what about you? What's your story look like?
I really like college recruiting stories because I think everyone has such a different and unique story of how they got to a university, and I think TCU is no exception in that. And my story started back in 2018. That's when I took all my visits in my junior year of high school.
Did you look at TCU?
No, so I'm from Houston, and I was super stubborn, and I wanted to go far. I was like, I'm gonna go
as everyone does.
Get away from your hometown and all this stuff. And so I looked in Ohio, I looked in Wisconsin, I looked in Missouri, I looked in Alabama. So I looked in all these different states than my own. So I was kind of all over the place. Ended up committing to Auburn in 2018. I went there my freshman and sophomore year, and I wanted to look for something different. I decided that I loved Texas, so I took one trip when I was transferring, and it was TCU, and I committed I think the Monday after my trip. So it's a great place. I fell in love. Everyone always says you have that feeling of when the place is home, or it's right or whatever. And growing up, I was like, no, that's not true. That's just a myth or whatever. And I was about a year ago right now is when I was on my trip and I got that feeling, and it's it's like hard to describe, but I knew that this place was supposed to be my home, and I ended up committing right after, and I've loved every second of it. So.
Yeah, we have very similar stories too. Because I never looked at TCU my first time around, and then when I was looking back, I was like, you know what, maybe I should look close to home. Like Texas is pretty great.
Because you're even closer than I am.
I know, I'm like an hour.
Yeah.
But did you get that feeling of like, oh, this is home, this is where I'm supposed to be at Auburn at all?
I did, but it was a
It was fake.
different, yeah.
No,
yeah
just kidding.
it was a different sense of home.
Yeah.
They're much different places. So I feel like I'm lucky in the sense that I've gotten to much different college experiences, being in a like kind of like a rural college town with not much to do outside of the university, to being in this huge metroplex with another giant city 20 minutes away. So just two completely different like sides to college. And I mean,
would you say
like
that was the biggest difference between Auburn and here in terms of like swimming and being a part of that program? Is like Auburn was kind of isolated, and would you say that was kind of what you noticed most?
For sure. And I think probably the biggest difference here is the size of the school. I think you get a lot of different like aspects to college swimming at a much smaller school. Like the classes, for example, like my first college class, I was like thought I was like back in high school, and because like there's such a small class and like such like a family vibe to it, and the professors know your name and stuff, and I was like, ooh, I have some like accountability from professors and stuff now. So it's much different.
Jumping into school, what are y'all's majors real quick?
I'm in psychology with a minor in movement science.
I'm an economics major and a business minor.
Cool.
Love it.
So did you choose that major because like swimming maybe related, like you wanted to understand?
Yeah, essentially I was a movement science major, and then
that's hard, right?
Yeah, it was hard, especially with the French being my first language.
Yeah.
At first, and then I just kind of, I think I was too much into this sports. Like it was sports in school, sports in athletics. So I was just like, okay, let's switch to something else. Let's branch out, and that's what I'm trying out right now. And I love it. I mean, like you said, like the teachers and the class size and everything is like perfect for especially like foreign students, I think.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've heard a lot of things about the kinesiology, movement science, all of that stuff, how difficult it is. And I can't imagine speaking a different language at first and trying to learn that in English. I mean, I don't think I could do it. It's like learning math too. Like it's a different language to you. You're like, how am I supposed to understand this? And Elliott, how'd you get into business?
You know, I've always like liked economics and like numbers with that stuff, and I don't know. It's like
it's because you're a Virgo.
He likes numbers
because of that. Yeah. But I don't know. It's something that's like kind of interests me, and when I was picking a major, I was like, well, I'll just do that.
Seems interesting.
It's worked out. I've enjoyed it. So I got one more year left. So
I'm always curious what your major is in regards to like your sport and like athletes in general, because I feel like it differs from person to person. If they're like, oh, I want to do this because I was injured a lot and I want to understand why, or oh, I want to go into like business, marketing, sports, media, something like that because I was an athlete. So it's kind of interesting to hear how you both have both sides of that, right?
Yeah.
Something we had written on here that I totally want to get into because I watched my high school swim team a lot is high school state swimming. Is that something that you had in Canada or no?
No.
So what was your like end all meet in high school? Like what would you guys work towards?
Well, we don't really swim high school at all. Like I would
swim, you do competitive.
Yeah, it was competitive from the start at a club, and then you go to nationals, and that's it.
Okay.
And that's why it's so different coming here and having like a meet every 2 weeks in your little training suit. Like it takes a while to adjust to that as well, but it's fun because you get to see like the team and everyone perform whenever like they possibly can, and it just brings a sense of like community more to the team. I think.
Yeah. And when you go to nationals, is that like a bunch of different international teams coming together to compete? Is that what that is? What that looks like?
At international meets, but then nationals is just like the entire country coming together. If you have the certain standards, you go. And,
so there's the international meets too.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just trying to get an understanding of who you're competing with, if it's like people in Canada or if it's people in different places.
Yeah. Sometimes different places, but mainly in.
Because the international meet almost makes me think of like an Olympics type vibe, right? When you're getting people from all different places, that kind of what it's like.
I went to a couple like junior international meets, and that has different countries and stuff, and that's always fun.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people on the team that do that too, that are international, that have experience like Junior Olympics and stuff like that. So
Okay, cool.
it's very different than here, though.
Yeah. And so then, Elliott, you did high school swim,
Yeah.
high school state swimming.
What UI like? Were you 6A?
No, so I actually went to private school. So
you did TAPS or whatever.
So I was in
yes.
TAPS. Yeah,
What is
yeah.
TAPS?
Period.
So
Explain.
TAPS is like the
Or
private.
TAPS. I said TAPS.
Yeah, I don't.
It's like the private
I'm
school
like, I don't
version
know.
of like the UIL.
Okay.
So I kind of got to watch that whole UIL. For those who don't know what that is, it's like crazy Texas high school sports.
Yes,
They go crazy in
Explain
everything.
to the audience. Good job. That was good.
No, please do.
So-
People probably don't
So
know.
I was kind of the private school version of that. So I kind of got to watch that UIL from afar. But with my club swimming in high school, so swimming, it's not the most popular sport. So it
Hey,
it
don't
kinda-
discount it.
But
We
it's
love
not.
the
It's
swimmers.
not.
Yeah, we
I
got
feel like
you.
he's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes in like a pyramid. Like you start at like your 10 and under summer league, you have a million little kids that swim, and then as you go to middle school, high school, it kind of forms a pyramid, less and less people. So you kind of have to travel far to compete at a high level. So I traveled a bunch to different states, and we'd have like our big like junior national meet that like was separated like in East and West. You went to that, and so I kind of did that, and that was like club swimming was kind of like my primary like swimming
Focus.
in high school. High school
Yeah.
swimming wasn't really like, I don't know. There's like a couple meets here and there, but club
Interesting.
swimming was really like the main.
So that's interesting to me. I'm from California.
Mhm.
A lot of the swimmers will do high school state swimming because it's actually really competitive. And I don't know if that's just maybe a California thing compared to like Texas. I'm not sure. And then also do the competitive meets outside. So I was just curious how like that dynamic was in terms of state swimming versus like competitive. So you were doing like other meets outside of your high school and going to like a similar nationals type situation. Okay, interesting. I was just curious how that kind of all worked together. Now I wanted to kind of move into something more on the broad aspect of athletics and you being involved as a student athlete at TCU. What would you guys say is the most rewarding part that you've had from being a student athlete here so far, and specifically in the swim program?
That's a great question.
Yeah, the most rewarding in like what sense? Like
Just to you as a person or to your experience as a swimmer, like what has really you've taken a step back and been like, wow, that was really special. That really moved me further in my swim career, really encouraged me, something like that.
I think like if I'm speaking from a TCU standpoint, just it's an up and coming team. So having the attention from the coaches and having like a smaller team kind of like has been really fun because you see everybody perform and it means a lot more because we're trying to like be a part of something bigger eventually. And I think having that support made me a much happier swimmer, and being happier like makes me swim faster. So I think that was the most beneficial experience for me, was just to have fun with it for the first time in a really long time. And then with that, I wanted to swim fast for the school. So like that's always just what I think of.
So you guys say up and coming team, you're trying to build sort of a legacy with the swim program here. I mean, that comes along with the new pool too, right? It's like a new energy you're bringing. Is that the motto you guys feel like you're going to be taking to next season? I know Emma's not going to be here, but you two both will be. Is that kind of what the focus is like we're building ourselves up?
Yeah, so I think we're putting a strong emphasis on recruiting because, recruiting is the basis for a great team. And I think just this season alone, we've seen huge improvements just in a number of different aspects, like culturally, our times, just everything. We've seen huge improvements, and that's without a pool. I don't want to keep going back to the fact that we don't have a pool.
Bring it up.
No,
we don't talk about it enough, to be honest.
But
That's
I mean,
crazy.
we accomplished quite a bit with having no pool and being like one step behind our competitors in that. So that's been really cool to see. But I think something that's been the most rewarding for me being a student athlete is accomplishing something that I didn't think was possible. And for example, like when I start a semester and I look at my class schedule and then the schedule of practices, and I sit there and I think there's absolutely no way I'm going to be able to manage this or do it well for that matter. And then come December when the semester's over and you're like, oh my God, I did that and I did it well. And that's something I didn't think I was going to be able to accomplish. And doing that over and over again and getting better and better each semester is a really rewarding feeling.
Yeah, like surprising yourself. Yeah, that is a good one.
That I always say to Emma, I'm like, I don't know how you guys balance all of the things that you have to do with school, professors, travel, meets,
I don't know either. Yeah,
it's crazy. You look back and you're like, don't know how I pulled that off.
That's such,
you're turning in the assignment. You're like, somehow that got done.
Yeah, and it's such a unique perspective to look at it like that. Is like, wow, I accomplished all of those things as a student athlete. It's really impressive.
You can look at that like on a small scale. Like when we show up to practice, and our coaches will have the workout written on the board, and you look at that
no way.
At 5:30 in the morning. There's no way I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to make that interval. And 2 hours later, you did it. You did it well. You accomplished that, and then that's how you start your day.
Oh, that does feel good.
I think the thing I thought I wouldn't be able to do this year was like waking up for all the mornings that we've had, just because we didn't have a pool. We had like every morning of the week basically, and not feeling like a zombie by the end. I was like, okay, we did that. That's done.
Looking back, like that's insane. And one thing I want to touch on about this team is like, and you guys talked and stuff, like I really wanted to leave it better than I found it, and I feel like with you guys on the team, like you guys did it. Like it's so good to look back and be like, wow, like this team is in such good hands. Like they're gonna do so well. They're gonna go so far. Like I can't wait to see you guys like win conference one day. Like it's just so rewarding looking back and like seeing everything we've built, like low key.
Yeah, and it's gonna take you guys far. I mean, I can tell that that's where TCU Swim's headed. The new pool, the new energy. I love that. I really think it's going to take you guys far. Really, we're going to get more into this, but take a quick commercial break. When we return, we'll hear more from these swimmers live at the Players Club. Stay tuned.
T Club provides the everyday TCU fan and alum the ability to specifically support TCU student athletes. Flying T Club offers 3 levels of memberships. The Flying T Club is a nonprofit organization supporting the brand development of TCU student athletes through a series of unique event-based networking opportunities, which are exclusive to our members. These events provide a great social engagement tool for our members and student athletes alike. Follow them on Instagram at Flying T Club or online at flyingtclub.com.
Texas-based Happy Water offers the best-tasting, sugar-free kids drink ever made. Happy Water comes in 4 delicious flavors that you can find at local retailers and on Amazon. Each pouch contains 0 grams of sugar, 0 calories, and 0% juice. Head to happydrinks.com for more information and to purchase Happy Water. That's HAPIDrinks.com. Live happy, be happy, drink happy.
On the pursuit of happiness, and I know everything is shining on its day.
Hi everyone, I'm Lindsay Dixon, the proud owner and founder of Fans Vintage. We sell rare and vintage gear for all things TCU. I graduated from TCU with an MBA in 2020 and actually started Fans Vintage as part of a class project during COVID. And now, 2 years later, we've grown from selling random vintage gear on Instagram into a full-time retail business with rare and custom gear you can't find anywhere else. This business has always been about creating a community of passionate fans and bringing people together where nostalgia and school pride collide.
We couldn't have gotten here without your tremendous enthusiasm and support. So thank you, and we can't wait to share what's next.
Stay tuned, and as always, go Frogs.
This is Cowtown Headache Center, a neurology clinic that specializes in headache medicine. We offer standard oral medications, we offer trigger point injections, we offer multiple nerve blocks, we offer infusions both for prevention medication and for acute relief. My name is Andrew Levere. I'm a physician assistant that has a special certification from the National Headache Foundation in headache medicine. Patients are pretty shocked when I tell them we have tons of options for them and that we can do better than what they're doing. I don't just tell you, here's one medicine we're going to try. I'll give them options, and then ultimately we choose together as the provider and patient. It's very satisfying to know that we're changing people's lives.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Players Club, where I am joined by 3 TCU swimmers. We'll rope Emma in there. She's a host, but she'll
I'm
be a part.
I'm a
She'll be a
swimmer.
part of the student athlete club today. And just want to give a quick shout out to John's Grill, a fast casual service and a fun, relaxed, family-friendly environment featuring 11 big screen TVs for you to catch the big game on. The mixology team has also created craft cocktail and beer menu featuring local spirits and brews from across Texas. You can check them out online at johnsgrill.com or come join us live every Thursday at 6, as you should be. All right, welcome back, everyone. I want to switch gears specifically to team dynamics.
Let's talk about it. How much
I know
time,
you guys are so close. And Emma, if you want to start it off.
Yeah,
lots
how much
of
time do you say we spend together as a team? Like even outside of practice,
360 days.
Yeah, a lot.
365, 24/7.
So by choice, though, right? It seems like you guys are all so close.
Honestly,
it's like
yeah.
That's who you want to be
Especially Jeanne, your class, like, you guys have a tight-knit,
Yeah,
group.
we live together, go on trips together that are not so
How do you think
related.
it got, like, they're all here tonight, shout out, but, like,
Shout out swim team.
Yeah. How do you think that happened? You guys just, like, took a liking to each other? Like,
I don't
of you?
know. I think that, like we talked about before, like the recruiting has been really, really good, and we just got similar like personalities, and then it just created a really big sense of family, especially my sophomore class. I noticed.
And I think it's something to be said for going through something as hard as swimming in college, but you're doing it together. Kind of creates this like extra bond that you don't really have with any other people. So.
Yeah.
And what do you guys feel like in the water? Like, is there someone specific that pushes you, like your training partner, like someone that you're with, and you guys hang out even like outside of the water?
Accountability. Like, how does that kind of play a role
in practice?
Yeah,
or just in general.
I think like everyone that has a stroke kind of finds a buddy in their stroke. I know you have like a couple backstrokers that you train with, and I find a lot of people, I think, in the weight room. People that I want to like lift the same amount or that push me. And like when I say I look up to you, it's just because like you're older, and like when I came in as a freshman, I was like, I want to be like that. So like you're the one I would want to train with, you know. And I can
in
think
the
of
weight
like,
room.
Well, Marlene, if I can think of in the weight room.
Lifting big in the weight room.
I'm not. So that's why I find that surprising.
That's awesome. So I was following up with the accountability thing because I feel like in swim, it's a very individual sport, right? So you have to have someone that's kind of pushing you and motivating you 24/7. Is there a coach that you like look to for that on the team specifically, or?
I think. Well, okay, so I'll say this. Swimming is boring like 99% of the time. I can say that because I swim. I think you need your teammates there to kind of do it along with you. Because if it weren't for the teammates, like nobody would be able to do it. Nobody would be able to do it. Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
So I think like those days where you don't want to wake up and you don't want to do the details and stuff like that, you need that accountability from not only your coaches but also your teammates to kind of push you to that next level.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, when you are swimming an individual sport, it's very easy to say it's boring. I get lost. I can't keep myself motivated. Yeah. So I feel like having a coaching staff that's really pushing you and motivating you to be on top of your stuff all the time, right, is so essential. Do you guys how is the coaching staff, like how's your guys' relationship with the coaching staff? You got new coaching recently-ish, or no? Has it been the same?
We get a couple new ones every year.
A couple newbies every year. So what is that like? Do you guys mind having kind of new faces in the program every once in a while? Does it not really faze you, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think,
does it?
I think our coaching staff right now is so dynamic. We have so many different personalities. It adds so much to the team. We have.
And you have one that you can go for different stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. If you need help with this, you go to this coach. If you need help with something else, you go to this coach.
If you want to like hear something good after a race,
you know which coach to go to.
Really? Yeah. I guess that's good to know, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like if you're like, I don't want to hear an earful right now, I'm going to go to this person because they'll just be like, you did great. Mm-hmm. That's all you need to hear for the time being. That makes sense. Now, I wanted to ask more about the training portion of swimming and what that looks like in terms of how strong you want to be. What, like, is it cardio? Is it some sort of endurance training that you're doing? Are you lifting a lot? What is your guys' kind of swim regimen training look like?
Yeah, break down like the 20 hours.
20 hours, you said? Explain.
Yeah, so we had 4 mornings this year. And beginning of the 4 mornings and 4 nights.
2 afternoons. Yeah, 3.
4 mornings, 2
You
afternoons,
do
and I think
2
3
doubles.
lifts.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
making
so a
sense.
lot of
Yeah.
double
okay.
practices, and I think beginning of the year is more like aerobic based. You get your cardio worked up,
Okay.
and then when you head into championship season, I think you kind of specialize into your events. So
Okay.
people do more sprints and like they train with like cords around their waist if they need to. They add weight in the water, or they keep training aerobic for people that swim like distance.
Yeah.
And then in the weight room, it's kind of the same thing. Like if you're a sprinter, you lift heavier a little bit, or if you
Okay.
swim distance events, you kind of do more repetition and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a very heavy workload, definitely.
Yeah.
But and then towards championship season, we also everyone's mileage like kind of goes down. We start
Okay.
resting a little bit, so
Yep.
it's very much a sport where there's like one competition we look forward to, and that's what we train towards, and that's why it's hard to like evaluate our performances throughout the year because it
Yeah.
really goes down to that one meet as well, like Big 12s or national invitations.
Yeah, that makes sense. And would you guys say that were you training in that way before you came to college, or when you stepped onto your college campus for your first training day before, so you were like, whoa, this is overwhelming?
So there's a lot of different like philosophies with training and stuff, and high school training is a lot different than collegiate training. With college and a university like TCU, we have a lot of resources and assets that we can use, like weight belts and parachutes and underwater cameras and all this stuff. So
Yeah.
training in college is a lot more specified, I would say, than high school training. That's something that definitely takes a learning curve because training in swimming is so much different across the board, and
Yeah.
I think it's hard for a lot of freshmen that come in and have trained one way for a few years and come in and have to change that and change what has worked to get them here,
Yeah.
and they have to change that. So I think it's hard adjusting, but once you get adjusted to it, I think it's a really good thing.
Yeah.
And that makes me think of a question. Did you guys, before you came to college, did you swim at one place for your entire life, or did you move around clubs, like competitive clubs, and then pick one and stick with it? What was your experience like with that?
I swam at one place the whole time.
I swam at 2 different places over the course of like 12 years. So
Where were you
So
at?
you
Fleet.
stick to it.
You're at
Yeah.
Fleet, and then where?
And Pack, Premier Aquatics.
Which one?
Pack. It's
never heard of
it's smaller, but Fleet was like my primary one. I swam there for like 10 years.
The reason I asked is because even when I did swimming, just like summer rec swim, I feel like you kind of stick to the same place for a while.
Yeah.
So then you kind of mentioned earlier, but that transition coming into college, is it very different to then be swimming with a completely different team, completely different coaching staff, group of people, and then on top of it, you're at the collegiate level, so it's a lot more intense. Is that like a big change for you guys, or was it a big adjustment maybe?
Well, growing up, like, I think you stick to the same club just because it's such a demanding sport that, like we said, your teammates become your family. So you
Yeah.
end up wanting to stay, and like the coaches get to know you the best. So you stay there for a really long time. And I think
Yeah.
when you go to college, it's just changing family a little bit. Like you find new coaches, new teammates, and that's who you stick with now. So that
Yeah.
was a big adjustment, and to find people, like figure out who you want to go to, like you said, after your races and stuff. But that was for me at least my transition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I experienced something similar. So
Yeah, I mean, transferring from a school, obviously it was different for you in terms of getting here. Like you had almost 3 steps, right?
Yeah,
Until your
yeah.
final destination, but makes it all worth it after all the work.
yeah, and to me, honestly, transitioning from high school swimming to college swimming was a bigger transition than it was moving universities.
Auburn.
Yeah. Which makes sense, right? Because it's still a similar.
But yeah. Collegiate swimming in general is very similar across the board.
Yeah.
But it's much different than high school swimming. Like, I mean, your body changes so much from high school to college, and there's just different things you need to adapt to make up
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Makes
and
sense.
kind of switching gears here, was there another sport you guys did growing up, like other than swimming? And like, how did you pick swimming? Do you remember?
Or was it always swim for
Yeah.
you?
I did soccer, and I think it's still a sport that I love a lot, but I just
Oh,
feel like
tea.
swimming is so much easier to go further with just because it's your own times, and
Yeah.
like it's right there on paper. And if I wanted to come to the States, like it's a lot.
Yeah. Did you
Easier
want to
to-
come to like America for college, like growing up?
Yeah, because I'm from a French province, but my club team for some reason had a lot of English speaking people, so they ended up going to the States, a lot of them. So I grew up seeing that. They went to schools like USC or UNC, so I just wanted to follow that path, I guess.
Cool.
It was like a no-brainer kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was also curious because you mentioned earlier that like coming to Texas from Canada is like not the most popular spot probably, but is in general coming to the States and swimming, like is swimming popular in Canada and then coming to the States and swimming like collegiately, is that common for the people that you swam with growing up or not really?
Yes and no. I think there are a couple Canadians definitely in the States, and you can point them out. Like they're good and they're fast, but
Yeah.
We have a good like high performance center, so a lot of people try to stay in club swim over there, and
Okay.
like I want to say yes, there's more Canadians than probably other countries. Just also
Yeah.
it's closer.
Yes.
But it's a very big change, so I don't know if too many people like
do it.
Yeah.
So then the alternative route maybe for if they wanted to train for the Olympics or something like that would be they would train competitively, just not out of college, but they would train.
They would stay in their clubs and go to national meets, and there's high performance setters, so a lot of them go there.
So what would be the oldest person that would be a part of the club, like that you used to swim at, if they didn't go the collegiate route?
I'd say I've swum with like a 27.
Okay, so old.
Yeah.
You say 27?
Yeah. I mean, old for in comparison
right.
to like in general. I feel like most people
for swimming, that's kind of
going
on
the
older
collegiate.
end.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
but it makes sense to kind of carry it throughout. Like if they're not going to go the college level, then just stick with the same people and kind of carry it throughout. That makes a ton of sense. Now, she mentioned what other sports you were involved in prior. Also wanted to focus on community at TCU. Obviously, you're athletes and you're a part of the swim community. Is there anything else that you're kind of involved with on campus where you felt like you were able to be a part of something outside of swim? Is there anything that sticks out?
Yeah, I mean, just with my major, like I'm in economics club, just stuff like that. Like, yeah, I don't mean to brag,
Smart
but
guy.
yeah. So just, I mean, I feel like it's very easy at TCU to get involved.
What
like,
do you do at economics club?
Well,
talk about the economy.
We had somebody from the Bureau of Labor Statistics come speak to us.
Cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But no, I mean, at TCU, it's really easy to get involved with stuff. I mean, you walk down like the main part of campus, and there's always people waving flags, and there's always signs, and it's almost hard not to get involved with something at TCU.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I don't know. I always say this. I don't know how you guys balance the schedule and then getting involved outside. But I mean, sounds like economics club is a part of your daily schedule. So you're fitting it all in. One final question I had before we head to another break. What would you say in all of this, from your busy schedule to the day-to-day practices, the early mornings, all the things, what keeps you motivated every day to say, I'm still going to be a swimmer at TCU. I'm still going to keep pushing through and be here however many years you're supposed to be and keep being a student athlete?
Yeah, I think what I've kind of learned as being a collegiate athlete is I don't believe in motivation anymore. I believe in discipline, because I think motivation comes and goes, and there's a lot of days where I mean, there's a lot of days where you wake up, I'd say most days where you wake up and you don't want to do things,
motivated.
but the reason why you get out of bed and go work and put the work in is discipline. And I think that's a trait that you develop over the years, and that's something I developed from a young age. And I think I kind of made like a promise to myself as a young swimmer that I would carry out this sport as long as I'm physically able to. So that I just kind of look back to the younger me and kind of want to fulfill that promise.
Love that. What about you, Jeanne? Anything that kind of keeps you motivated?
I think like everything we've mentioned before, the team, our program getting better and better. Like I think it's like so underrated how good we're getting.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Yeah, and I wish it was brought more attention. We got more attention for that, because it's been kind of impressing this season, especially without the pool.
Yeah.
But I think just that goal and setting it as a team, you don't want to let anyone down. So that's like swimming for a school that I love a lot too. Like that's been my motivation, I think.
I love that. Well, we're bringing more attention here to swim tonight. That's for sure.
Period.
We're going to head to a quick break, but we're still going to hear more from these two and Emma. Make sure you stay tuned here at the Players Club. We'll be right back.
Texas-based Happy Water offers the best tasting sugar-free kids drink ever made. Happy Water comes in 4 delicious flavors that you can find at local retailers and on Amazon. Each pouch contains 0 grams of sugar, 0 calories, and 0% juice. Head to happydrinks.com for more information and to purchase Happy Water. That's HAPIdrinks.com. Live happy, be happy, drink happy.
Hi everyone, I'm Lindsay Dixon, the proud owner and founder of Fans Vintage. We sell rare and vintage gear for all things TCU. I graduated from TCU with an MBA in 2020 and actually started Fans Vintage as part of a class project during COVID. And now, 2 years later, we've grown from selling random vintage gear on Instagram into a full-time retail business with rare and custom gear you can't find anywhere else. This business has always been about creating a community of passionate fans and bringing people together where nostalgia and school pride collide.
We couldn't have gotten here without your tremendous enthusiasm and support. So thank you, and we can't wait to share what's next.
Stay tuned, and as always, go Frogs.
Flying T Club provides the everyday TCU fan and alum the ability to specifically support TCU student athletes. Flying T Club offers 3 levels of memberships. The Flying T Club is a nonprofit organization supporting the brand development of TCU student athletes through a series of unique event-based networking opportunities, which are exclusive to our members. These events provide a great social engagement tool for our members and student athletes alike. Follow them on Instagram at Flying T Club or online at flyingtclub.com.
This is Cowtown Headache Center, a neurology clinic that specializes in headache medicine. We offer standard oral medications, we offer trigger point injections, we offer multiple nerve blocks, we offer infusions both for prevention medication and for acute relief. My name is Andrew Levere. I'm a physician assistant that has a special certification from the National Headache Foundation in headache medicine. Patients are pretty shocked when I tell them we have tons of options for them and that we can do better than what they're doing. I don't just tell you, here's one medicine we're going to try. I'll give them options, and then ultimately we choose together as the provider and patient. It's very satisfying to know that we're changing people's lives.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Players Club, where I am joined by 3 of TCU's finest swimmers, one of them being retired now, Emma, my co-host.
Swimmer.
So sad. You know, if you follow her on Instagram, what is it? Plug yourself.
M. Holquist.
Yeah, you can hear lots
EM.
about her
Which you'll
post-swim
see,
career. She'll talk all about it on her Instagram stories.
Very active on the
Anyways,
gram.
let's switch
Very active.
topics to travel. Let's switch topics to travel. This is something that always interests me, of whether you guys enjoy not just traveling to your pool where you have to practice, might I add, but to tournaments, meets, whatever. Do you guys enjoy the travel aspect, having to be away from campus? What are your thoughts on that?
I do. I mean, you get to visit a lot of different places, and TCU always brings us to cool destinations like Hawaii, and we went to Florida and all that. So I like it. You get to see a lot of
world.
America, especially for me. So it's definitely a lot with school.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like it for the most part.
Other than Hawaii, what do you think was the most fun place to go? Because Hawaii's obviously
up there.
I loved Utah. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
I had a good time in Park City.
Yeah.
Really? I would not expect that.
No,
They
honestly,
let us
but it was
a day.
so much
They
fun.
gave us a day to
Yeah.
see.
They always sneak in a little extra, you know what I mean?
Yeah, make it worth it.
Yeah.
Is there any school that you visit and pool, meet, whatever, that's super rowdy, where the not, I guess, fans or the audience, whoever's watching, it's pretty loud in there? Is there a certain place you can pinpoint, or
Probably
not really? Because I'm
Texas?
Yeah,
Conference?
Texas,
University of
you'd say?
Texas.
Yeah, Texas is really good, so a bunch of people
But
pull up to
TCU
there.
is always the loudest on deck.
Yeah.
Really?
That's something we're really good at.
Oh
is
my
our
God,
cheers.
the team? No, the team.
Yeah.
We are definitely the loudest,
Yeah.
just for each other on deck.
Yeah.
Everyone else, it's quiet.
Yeah.
We are so loud and obnoxious, and other teams. Sorry, I'm answering the question, but other teams
go
literally
for
will
it.
copy our cheers and stuff. They were doing that at NICs.
Really?
Yes. When
Who's the team
Oh,
cheer?
yeah.
Who's the team cheerleader? Is it you?
Yeah, the captain.
I mean,
The captains?
Yeah. Somebody's got to step up next year now that you're gonna be gone.
someone's got to be loud and annoying like me. I know.
And how many captains do you guys have on your team?
6.
we had 6 this year. Yeah.
So do you guys like that? You have 6 different people you can rely on, or is it hard to balance
was
the
hard.
power?
It's hard.
It's
There's too many
difficult?
cooks in the kitchen sometimes. You
Mhm.
just got to do 1 or 2 maybe.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, so one question that sticks out to me about meet days in particular, I remember when I was a child just sitting around at swim meets between races, having a lollipop, probably being on my phone, whatever. What does that look like for you guys? Are you kind of trying to stay in the zone at all times between your races? Or are you guys just like hanging out with the team and chilling until 30 minutes before your race?
It depends.
I think it's really changed a lot over the years. At first, I used to be on my DS, like way back in the day in between races.
Like
I mean,
freshman
no,
year.
that's
Yeah,
pretty
my
on brand. Yeah.
But I mean, it's changed now. I think the time at a swim meet kind of flies by because you're just like watching your teammates and I think and cheering, and it's like really satisfying to like watch your teammate, like watching Jeanne. She won the 50 fly
That was
at
so
NICs.
fun. Yeah.
And it's like satisfying to watch somebody that you've been training and watch them trained all year to like meet their goals.
Yeah,
is almost
so
like just as
special.
satisfying as like you doing it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Agreed.
agree. I mean, it's a team contribution too, right? It's pushing you guys all forward as Horned Frogs. I just remember the time between the events, and
It's long.
I think too with a swim that I was doing, it's like different age groups and all of that stuff, so it takes a long time. I was just curious, but I love the DS. You sit on the DS.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was a big deal.
Now, a final question that I had before we move into our locker room pregame ritual kind of conversation is, what is your guys' plans post-college? Have you thought that far? I know only junior, sophomore, but are you thinking maybe swim still in your future if you can, or are we just kind of moving into professional careers elsewhere?
I think I'm in an academic place where like they really set you up properly for your future and your career. So I think I want to take advantage of that. And just give it my all in my collegiate career. And I mean, eventually maybe things will change, but for now, I kind of want to give all to swim right now and then later on move on probably.
Totally.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, a lot on your body too, right? Takes a toll. Is that the same for you, Elliott?
Yeah. I mean, swimming is a hard sport to kind of continue after college. You have to be like the very, very top of the sport to continue that. So I think, honestly, I look at swimming as like a stepping stone. Like it's the reason that I'm able to go to this school. So I just look at that as it's been able to get me here, and I'm just going to continue to use it to just take it as far as it'll let me. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Love that. We want to kind of switch to pregame, locker room ritual. We kind of do a little segment of that every week. What does the pregame look like or pre-meet look like for you guys?
Elliott, you haven't really had like a home meet.
Yeah.
But Jeanne, you were there last year. What do we do in the locker room every time with the girls?
Emma will she'll put some music on in the speaker and then start yelling, and all the girls get into it. And
love
there's
that.
Some girls bring hats and or decorate their lockers.
But we always play our song. Were you there last?
Yeah.
We played all night longer.
Yeah.
Every time. And we dance around, and then the coaches come in and they're like, "Okay, let's
So
get ready."
are you the designated aux, Emma, or is there someone else?
Do you know what? This is in here, and we haven't even talked about it. Elliott was aux at like so many practices this year.
He made
Yes.
different
Really?
playlists.
I'd walk in, and I'd be like, "Who's playing this music?"
Okay, so yeah, fun fact about me is I'm the designated DJ at practice. I've been that since high school. And I have, I think, 27 different practice playlists that I've made over the past like 5 years.
27.
Yeah, I'm the real deal. So if you
tried
need
to, like,
any
warm up.
playlists for practice.
You
But I
need
would
a
always be like, "This
professional
is good.
DJ
This is not a
hiring.
coach."
Yeah.
I was like, "This is not a coach playing this. Who is this?"
But when you got here, you had to like warm up to the coaches so they wouldn't let you play music.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When I first got here, I've always been the DJ. I was like, did the coaches let us play music? And somebody told me no, and I was like, no way. I gotta convince the coaches.
Honestly, the end of
Yeah.
my career.
But they
Yeah.
don't really. So like, you're special.
Yeah, I
They
just
don't
sneak
ever
my way
really-
in there. Yeah. But you always know when a coach is playing music.
You know, and
Oh,
you know
you
which
always
coach. And you
Yeah,
know
you know
exactly
which coach. Yeah.
You're like,
So
"Oh."
there are certain days though during practice you guys are playing music while you're swimming.
Yeah.
every day.
At our pool here, we have an underwater speaker too.
Oh, cool. So is it sound distorted at all underwater or not really?
No.
I've never
I don't know why,
heard
but
an
no.
underwater
I've still
speaker.
never had it.
No.
That's you have something to look forward to now.
Yeah.
It'd be
No,
cool,
it's
right?
so much fun.
Yeah.
But unless it's a bad song, because then you can't escape it. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
All right,
anyways,
well,
yeah.
Should we switch to our hot seat questions?
Yeah, I
Yes,
mean, we're almost out of time.
I know.
so-
Jeanne's really been looking forward to these hot seat questions. She told me at the break. We'll see if they live up to your standards that you
I'm
have.
excited. I'll start.
Yeah.
Okay. Who was your Spotify Wrapped artist for each of you?
If you're a Spotify user, unless you're
You
Apple
guys
Music.
both are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emma's like, don't let me down.
I'm like, don't lie. Do you not remember?
Who was mine?
Yeah,
Yeah.
who was yours?
Oh, J. Cole.
Oh.
Who was it?
J. Cole.
Jake who?
Cole.
Cole. Oh, J. Cole.
Jay who?
Jake Cole? Who are we talking about? What about you, Elliott?
Mine was Oliver Tree. I'm a huge Oliver Tree fan.
Okay. I don't
I
know
thought
if
it
I'm
was going to be
familiar.
Drake or
Emma,
Van
who was
Van
yours?
Fleet. We know who mine was. You know who mine was.
Drake, of course.
Share
no,
it with the
Drake was
audience.
second. Guys.
Beyonce.
who's first?
Beyonce.
Yes. You say Beyonce?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Great choice.
Period.
Mine was Harry Styles. Shameless plug.
Oh.
It always will be every single year.
Yeah.
Okay, next question we have. What is the best class or professor that you've had at TCU so far?
Sociology, Miss Bailey, something. She was
Cool.
really good. She like keeps her students.
Engaged.
Yeah.
Stern.
Love it.
Yeah.
What about you,
Elliott?
Elliott?
Honestly, probably the psychology class we had last semester.
Shout out.
The
It was-
entire swim team. Was
Yes,
there.
Really?
we had
Wait,
like
was there a
the
lot
whole
of
swim
y'all?
team. Yeah, and it was Tuesday nights for like 3 hours, and it was
Oh.
like the whole team, and we were all very tired, and we kept each other entertained by
Yeah.
paying attention as well.
Of course, of course.
Of course. Okay.
Never drifting away.
For the third hot seat question, anything that you'd go back and tell freshman year you? Like one thing, just one piece of
Oh my
information.
Yep. Have to sit and think about this
Yeah.
one.
Just because you have the dining dollars to spend at the dining hall doesn't mean you should spend them all.
Does
That's
it go
a
into
fair
debt?
one.
Dining dollar debt?
Yeah.
What about you?
I would say like definitely take in the university experience, but like take care of yourself. You know, like
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just,
take
I
care of
find a
yourself.
balance.
It's hard. It's hard
Mine
to do.
would be break up with your boyfriend.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay.
Break
I
up with
could-
your
yeah.
boyfriend. That too.
Okay.
Our final question that we have. This one's usually controversial
yeah, this
between athletes. So we'll see what you guys have to
Okay.
say. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
You go first. You go
Okay.
first.
I would say yes.
Okay.
But I made a lot of friends from Italy this year, and I was told I can't say that anymore.
I don't think I would be saying that if I was from Italy either, but I like it. It's
Yeah.
good. What about you?
Okay,
Elliott?
so I've actually never understood that debate. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's good. But what I do like on pizza
By all
is
means, please go into it. Yeah.
corn.
Corn?
Like canned
Corn.
corn on pizza. I think that's good.
You're a freak. Okay.
So you just get corn and sauce.
like you're
and
getting a
cheese.
pizza from from any like
Well,
Papa
it has to
John's
be
and then
homemade.
you
I
open
don't-
up your own corn and
That
put it on
has
there.
to be some
Yeah.
sort of red flag. That has to.
Maybe.
That has to be
Maybe.
like you need to be on the FBI most wanted.
Interesting.
He literally
Okay.
just said canned corns.
Well, that's what we have noted now is pizza with corn.
With
is
canned
You should
corn.
just try it
go-to
before you
order.
order.
BYOC.
That's what Elliott's trying to share with us. You guys, it was lovely to be joined by both of you.
you.
All three of you. I'm so
Aw.
happy to
I'm
have
so
our
glad you
swim
guys
show.
came. Thanks for coming.
I know, special for Emma too, right?
Yeah.
Have this show and as her
My
career is
kids.
coming to an end, but we appreciate you guys taking the time to be with us
Yes,
on the
thank you.
Players Club. Just a reminder to everyone out there watching, we're going to be here every Thursday at 6 p.m. live from John's Grille. You got to make sure to check us out, or you can watch the live stream online at frogstoday.com, as well as follow us at Frogs Today. Again, I'm Olivia,
And I'm Emma.
and we will see you next week at 6. Bye.